Hey, Big Lake World. Love you guys. Miss you guys greatly. And I've been praying for you guys that all is going well through this time, that you're staying safe, that you're being wise, and that you are finding time to connect with your Father. Um, as you know, Pastor Sam has kind of put a challenge before the staff to help him in leading a daily devotion that we can put out for you guys um, 2 or 3 times a week. And as I started thinking about it and something that God has been working on me, I just wanted to share a little bit with you. And what He's been working on me is this. Um, he's been making me realize that with all of this chaos, with all of this craziness, um, it's been shaking me, that it has been changing me and helping me realize where my foundation is weak. It's been kind of a foundation check for me. There has been some things that I've been putting my trust in, that I have been believing to be true, that are being proved to be not so true and to be um, not so secure. And the passage that came to mind is this. Some of you may be already turning there, but it's Matthew 7, verse 24. Jesus is ending his Sermon on the Mount. He's taught these people all these different things, and he finishes his sermon in this way on the Mount. Matthew 7:24. Jesus is speaking, and he says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who has built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." See, when I read that passage in the past, I was thinking, who would be naive enough to build on the sand? That's a pretty foolish person. But now, as I read it and realize I have been that person, I'm realizing I need to give some grace to that foolish builder, because I have built things my life, some of my life, on the sand. And I'm not saying my whole world and my whole house has crashed, but I know there's sections of it that are definitely hurting right now and that are being challenged right now. So I had to realize, maybe sometimes when we're building on the sand, we didn't even realize it was sand. We thought it was rock. But I've realized the only rock, the only thing that's going to stand that test of time, is to make sure it's building on God. And the things that I hear from Him, the things that He asks me to do, if I'm not going to do it, I'm building on sand. And that was hard, and it's still hard for me as I process that, because I know God is speaking to me. I know He's speaking to you, and I know as we get into His Word, as we try to connect with Him, He's going to continue to speak to us. And I know we're going to sometimes want to put off and to not go where He wants us to go and to do what He wants us to do. But then we have to realize, according to this passage, according to what Jesus says, we're building on sand. And the areas that were sandy for me have definitely been shaken, if not fallen completely apart. And I'm realizing, as I look at it, as I see those areas, what do I do now? Because the foolish builder could have continued to be a foolish builder and try to hope and think, well, maybe next time the storm won't come. Or he could have just looked at the rubble and said, well, what's it matter? It's the end. It's destroyed. Or he could have been wise and chose to become wise and to start building on the rock. And that's what I'm going to try to hope to start to do. I'm going to start hearing, hopefully, from God and doing what He's asking me to do. In these tough times, I could choose to see all the chaos around me and choose to see all the panic and join it, or I could choose to look to God my Father and take this time to connect with Him, allow Him to speak into who He wants me to be, who He's called me to be, allow Him to say and give me my identity, and then to start following who He and where He's calling me to go. That He could start giving me a new mission. Because what I'm seeing and what I've been challenged to do is some of those areas that were the sand, is to see and find where the rock is and to go there and to see what's going to happen now that I build on the rock. To change a little. As scary as that is, I have the opportunity to change, and so do you. We don't have to continue and build it on the sand again. We can change and be renewed and build on the rock. We can choose to be the wise builder and to hear from God and to do what He's asking us to do. And I think if we start doing that, how awesome and how beautiful this storm could be. Because if you and I start to change and to go where God is asking us to go, I think there could be beauty out of this chaos. I think our households, our family could change. I think our community could change. I think our country could change for the better. And our world could change. I'm seeing glimpses of hope already as I see people helping one another. I saw a report of a guy at Walmart yesterday who was just standing outside the door, and if he saw elderly people, giving them toilet paper. I see our church calling Sam and I and saying, hey, I want to help. Let us know if there's a need. I see people who were so focused on their job, on their career, who are now starting to say, it's okay for me to not give everything to that. I see people who thought they had a retirement coming and were going to retire in a year or two, now realizing it may be multiple years. But that's okay, because God's calling them to something different. See, change can be difficult, but I'm glad that this is just a foundation check and that this isn't the end. That we can find those weak spots, we can rebuild those spots that have crashed down on the rock. And we have an opportunity, and most of us have more time than we've had in a long, long time, to be able to connect with our Father again and make healthy patterns and rhythms out of this, so that way when the world comes next time, and as we really start to rebuild some of the things that we need to rebuild, that we can build on a firm foundation and that we can be new again, that we can be hopefully brought together again, united, because we all are building on the rock again. I'm excited to see how this change and how this chaos and how God can work beauty through it. But I encourage you, as this all happens, that you allow God to show you where the foundation is. That you allow God to show you what He's asking of you. Because that's the only way that beauty comes out of this chaos. Is if we turn back to our Father and humble ourselves and admit that maybe I was a foolish builder. Maybe you were a foolish builder. But that's not where you want to be now. That the storm has come and you realize where you need to be and you want to start building on the rock. I pray that you guys stay safe. I pray that you guys know that you're loved. I pray that you guys know that there's help out there if you need it. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone if God's placing it on your heart. Don't be afraid to reach out if you need help. We love you. We miss you. And are looking forward to when we can meet again. But again, use this time wisely, as God has given it to us an opportunity to rebuild on Him. Love you guys.